Well, welcome everyone. It is Wednesday, October 25th, and I'm happy that you're on live on the Zoom call tonight. And those of you who are watching the replay line, awesome, that's great. You're going to learn a lot. This is a very exciting topic, is adding to that names list, making the names list, adding to the names list, finding people to prospect, because this is a business of prospecting. And Lori Sabetsky is going to lead us through this Chapter 4 training/discussion. So it's going to be interactive. So Lori, are you ready to start leading us?
Yes. So Monday, I spent a lot of work. I did Chapter 4 and I read Chapter 5. So I read from 0 to 5, and I worked on my list as well. So I probably put about 4 hours into working on, and you saw it on Monday. So Chapter 4 was about finding prospects. So the key question is, in Chapter 4 is, do I know anybody? So in the book, the concepts are the posers, the amateurs, and the professionals, just like he had listed in Chapter 3. So the posers, they make a mental list of about 3 or 4 people in their head, hoping that they'll join their business and that their entire future is based upon those few people. And 80% of people who join start as posers. They make a small list and they see what happens. The amateurs make a list of about 100 prospects with a lot of excitement but not a lot of skill. They begin prospecting and then their list diminishes. Their biggest fear is running out of people to talk to. So their fear is, if I don't get anybody on my list, I'm going to fail. So the list, is a trick to, or sorry, can't read my own writing. A good list, they think a good list is success and a bad list is a fail. So it all depends on their list, and that's all they concentrate on. So the professionals approach finding the people to talk to as one of their core skills. They're not worried about luck. They're not worried about running out of their list. They start with the list and they commit to never stop adding to it. So the chapter goes along and asking, well, how do I keep on adding to this list? So they called it an active candidate list. And there was a few points that he made. There's 3 points that he made on, or sorry, 4 points he made on this active candidate list. A, make your list. Every person you can think of, whether you love them, hate them, they're old friends, new friends, as you do this, it will make room for new contacts. Number 2, think of 6 degrees of separation. Who does your list know? So if you write down your cousin, who knows your cousin? So expand your thought process on your list. And add those people to your list, because it's a domino effect of who knows who. Constantly expanding your list is what professionals do. It never stops growing. The pros have a goal to add at least 2 people to their list every day. So 2 people 6 times a week equals 600 new people a year, and over 5 years, that's 3,000 people. Now, these 2 people that go on your list every day, they may or may not be a prospect, but they are on your list. And you may come in contact with these people every day. So it's constantly adding to your list. Professionals develop a higher level of awareness on their list. They pay attention to the world. They know that they will be introduced to new people all the time. So instead of just saying, well, I don't know anybody in this room, and just keeping your blinders on, they examine the room, and they're not afraid to meet new people and to generate the list. So grabbing a business card and adding them to your list. Professionals network on purpose. They get out there, they have fun, they join a hobby, a gym, a group, and they meet new friends. So I then started working on my list, and I wrote that down. So I ended up with, oh, here's my list. I ended up with writing down a lot of people. Let's wait, it keeps on going.
That's fantastic. Good job.
So my next step is to now edit this list. And that's the fear. Never let the list stop. Because that's what a lot of amateurs think. Well, if my list stops, then what's my next goal? So always continue adding to your list as life adds to your list. So that was the bones, I guess, of chapter 4. So that's what I wrote down, and that's chapter 4. So I started on chapter 5. So I'm hoping to expand on the next chapters.
Great.
Good job, Lori. That was awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah, that was great. Well summarized. And I like too how, you know what I like best is that you took an action step around it. So you went right into, okay, get the list happening here.
And Sheila has said too that never underestimate the context on your list, because you don't know who they know.
Right.
So by not putting somebody on that list, you could have just put a dead end in front of them.
Yeah.
So I know
I was going to say, by putting them on your list too, on our list, my list, it triggers other names. So I think that's part of it too. It's like, okay, I hate this person. Well, I don't want to hate anybody, but whatever.
No, was just
yeah. But also though, because I think of that person, if I actually kind of let myself relax into it, oh, I know other people because of my thought of that person.
That's
so it
right.
naturally triggers other people that come to mind.
That's right. And I know that chapter 5 sort of melted into chapter 4 a little bit. Of it, but it's just it's building a list. And as I was making a list, I was thinking of as well too. Well, who do they know and how do they know them?
Yeah.
So it's just creating that ripple in the water, I guess, if you want to say that.
I love that analogy. You know what was cool is that I was sharing with Sheila on Monday morning, because Sheila is supporting me coaching. No, Tuesday mornings. We connect at 6:30 in the morning, and I was sharing with her how I was last night we did a string art. So it's kind of like a paint night, except it's string art. So you do your nails, and we had a certain picture we were doing. And what I discovered is that as I was looking through Groupon, I recognized that, wow, there's a lot of discounts here within interests that I was curious about. And I never thought about Groupon in that way. So what I'm doing is following that inclination of, what interests me? Oh, that looks like a cool group. That looks like a cool group. And just step into that too. And that was part of what you said, is that professionals, are continually meeting new people. So I enjoy my company. And so I've, recognized more and more, besides where I work at, get around people, and not so that it's an objective, but mostly too because it's fun and it's a natural invitation.
Well, and I think one thing that I was having a stumbling block with my list is I thought to myself, well, what if I don't have a list? Then does that mean I can't go any further? But that's not it either. And that was a horrible thought process to have, because without that list, you're almost containing yourself to those few 10. Well, if I don't go outside that 10, then I guess I failed. It's expanding that horizon of it and allowing yourself that wall. So when I just started writing on that list, I just had to let that wall down and say, okay, I can't be afraid of the list, because the list was intimidating me. it was intimidating me because I thought, well, if I don't make the list, am I going to fail?
Yeah. That's so smart. I love how you're like, I work in the school system, and I love how you're asking yourself the questions, because then that's how we know our patterns and such, and realize, you know what, that's not logical. That doesn't make sense. Just, yeah.
Now, why is the list
right in.
Why am I being so bound by this list? And almost by adding a lot more names on it, it actually just took a stressor away.
Yeah.
By just diving myself into it.
And that's a really good point, Lori. A lot of people get stuck on the list. And like yourself, you've been stuck for a while on that step. And I have to applaud you that by you working on chapter 4, it helped you break through that fear. And now you're really empowered to say, wow, this is pretty easy. Look at how many people you have on the list. You have lots of people to connect with for USANA purposes. And that's going to lead you to a lot more. You're going to find now that you will be connecting with people continuously. Like it's going to be like the blinders are taken off and you're thinking, oh, I met a new person today. I met a new person today. I met a new person today. It's really quite fascinating when you just, look beyond the people, your immediate contacts. Like the people who are going to be joining my business and help propel me to the next level, I haven't met them yet.
And that's right. And even though I did reach out, I made a contact to invite to Tuesday night, and she said no, I didn't let that no bother me.
Excellent.
That's okay, because I've got more names.
Yeah.
And sometimes, and I think I had to, I hate to say it, but I needed to be told no.
Oh.
Because that made me want to get a yes.
Ah.
It's okay to say, no, I can't make it to your meeting, but thank you anyways. And it was just a polite conversation back and forth. She says, no, I can't make it. I don't want to be crushed by that. So that's okay. There'll be a next.
Yeah.
So the chapter 4 sort of sat me down on the couch, and I gathered my stuff, and I'm like, okay, this is it. If I don't get off my hump, I'm not going to make this list.
Yeah.
And it's going to kill me. And the pressure and the stress of this is going to drive me nuts. Just make the stupid list. So I just started writing down lists. And I'm not done, because I still have to get to my business cards that I have sitting in my office. I have pages and pages and pages of business cards sitting in my office.
Yeah. I'm sure you have shoe boxes full. We all have shoe boxes full of cards, and
I kind of wish I had known about this chapter before I did a major decluttering and tossed. I don't know how many business cards. Yeah, lots and lots. What I found interesting about this book, which was kind of like the eye opener for me on this chapter, was the adding the 2 people a day on the list. I was totally intimidated by that until I read that I just need to add them. I don't need to prospect them. Just add them to the list.
That's right.
And it was sort of like, oh, because I honestly thought this list was, who can I prospect?
That's right.
And I wasn't approaching it from the, who's everybody I've ever met in my entire life, and who do they know, and who might I approach later, or at all.
I like that.
Yeah.
Well, it's eating the elephant concept. You can't eat it all in one bite. So just take 2 chunks.
I was getting really hung up on this one.
Even nibbles work.
I wanted to.
And for me, this was a big wall to just write it down, and it was consuming me a little bit. And like you said, Adeline, just write them down. It's like your diary. Write that thought down. Nobody else is reading your list.
Right. That's so smart. I love that.
So I'm hoping that this will just go.
Well, the thing is, it's so cool about it, you don't even need to hope. And that's the stuff I'm listening to more and more now, is that I find, as I think of the logic of it, like if I broke it down in numbers within Calgary, for instance, I think we're about 1.3 million. So I think, okay, 10%, that's 130,000, 1%, 13,000, 0.1%, 1,300 people. I thought, wow, 0.1%. What if I were to talk to 0.1% of people in this next year? And not so much that I like to shift from, like we have Rory Jones from Winnipeg area coming to Calgary. I like him. He's logical. He's down to earth. He's fun. He's a fisherman. He's a single dad with 3 daughters. And rather than, who can I get? Flipping it completely. That is so limiting. Who can I invite? Is completely different than, you know what? Out of all those people in Calgary, how many people are actually saying, you know what? What's out there? What is there? And a lot of it is like it's a whole picture. There's the relationship, the fun, the exploration of our dreams and our visions. And one of the things that was, I didn't mention as a celebration, but I met with a neighbor on the weekend, and she's a master's in social work, and she gave me the contact name of a woman that works in the health and wellness area of the new hospital in Calgary. And I think it's the biggest one actually, I think it's even more than Western Canada. It's really large, and they have a whole wellness unit. And I said, what? And she said, yeah, I think you can rent out rooms and just, not rent them out, but, well, actually, I'm looking into the details of it. But you know what? I'm thinking, well, how about a vision board, or how about, and helping people to really explore and say, okay, what is health to you, though? Why is this important to want to put on your vision board? And the whole idea of, most of us really want to have a life of purpose. We're not going to be Mahatma Gandhi, but we really do want to have, at the end of our life, and think, you know what? Now that was fun. That was good.
Yeah. Well, and as I was reading through chapter 4, I found myself thinking, I see myself in all 3, the poser, the amateur, and the professional. I see myself in little snippets of it all. But I don't want to be a poser or amateur. And sometimes you slip into it, and then you sort of pull back out. Oh, I've got a mental list. Don't worry about it. Or, your fear of prospecting that list. So you sort of dip into all 3, but you know what you don't want to be. So I'm hoping that this will envision me to just keep that moving forward. So
one of the things that I worked with Sheila, this is, when was it now? This is one friend that I had kind of put on my list, and I was really wanting to recruit her. But then it came up, as we discussed, that there was no no reason to. She did not have any wants or issues that I could provide a solution to her. So some of these people are just simply friends, and that's what they'll be. They're not going to be, an associate. And that's perfectly fine. So I was getting myself wrapped around like, oh my God, she's such a great person. I want her. And then going like, she doesn't have any issues for me to solve.
At this time.
So, at this time, but it was kind of freeing, because then I got rid of that anchor that I was really kind of dragging along with me.
It's so true. I've experienced that. I really like that. And when I'm meeting with people, like I'm meeting with a teacher after work tomorrow, she does aromatherapy and soaps. And I'm loving that more and more of that kind of like, let's just do an exploration here. Okay, you do sauna, what is it? There's not selling. No selling. Just simply, exchanging and connecting. It's the fishing thing, right? It's like, okay, is this of interest? Not. Interest of not. And enjoying the journey along the way. And finding a way that is of mutual interest to stay connected. So I'm wanting to, like Sheila, you were talking about this is getting into whole follow-up stuff, but the being connected with people, even if it's a quick text to say, oh, hey, it was your birthday, how was your weekend, or a sunny day, so that there is fun when I'm doing it too.
Well, and that's what I want to do with Susan. I still want to stay authentic in myself and who I am, and that's who I'm going to be, but still just share.
Yeah, simple,
so at work, I've put we have a retail business in Beausejour here, so I've put the USANA catalog actually on my desk, but facing the customer, and I'm just leaving it there. So when I have customers or reps or whoever that comes through my office, they sit down and they have to see it because it's sitting right there in front of them. They actually have to physically move it off to the side if we actually want to do paperwork from across each other.
So that tells me your belief level is strong and your confidence in willing to just and have no anticipation around it. Just recognize, it is sort of like, okay, who's interested and who's not.
That's right. And I just allow them to pick it up or move it or just flip it upside down, and then the next time they come to my office, that's still there. So you just sort of pick it up and look through it. So yeah, this chapter really has let me sort of take down my guard, because I felt so intimidated that if I don't contact every single person on this list, and if I don't sign up everybody on this list,
yeah,
I don't want to put failure in front of the cart before I even started.
Yeah, that's an excellent point, Lori. And I think how you feel or felt is how a lot of new people feel. That just because the name's on the list, then they have to contact them. And that's not the case. As Adeline said, she had someone on her list, and after discussing it, that person wasn't a prospect. Not everybody on your list is going to be a prospect. But when you just do like a mind dump of everybody you've ever known and just write, that helps encourage more ideas and more thoughts and more people that may be connected to those people. And those people who may not be prospects may be referral partners and give you names. So it's really important just to dump all the names of everyone you know and then prioritize. Like in Suzanne Cunningham's book, she talks about looking for your sharp people. So then looking for those sharp people and prioritizing. So the next step is look at the list. Are they self-starters? Put an S beside them. Are they happy people? Put an H beside them. And go through the list and prioritize, and then look for your top 10 to 20 people. And then potentially start with those. But we'll talk about strategies of what to do with the list next week.
I like the sharp connection, Sheila.
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if it was chapter 4 or chapter 5. I think it was chapter 4, when you've presented to somebody and they may have said no to your presentation. You can ask them, well, do you know of anybody else who might be interested?
Yeah.
And right there, they can give you a name.
Right. And I was one of those people. I was a referral. So you just never know how powerful those referrals can be. And I think of all the things I could do better is ask more referrals, because that's very powerful. When you have someone refer to you, there's a more of a connection of trust. And so your chances of them being interested are much higher than if they're complete strangers. So,
what's cool about that too is, yeah, exactly. You were a referral, Sheila. And it's neat that I remember, it surprises me when I think how long ago I might have heard a training. And yet what's important is it's like a bamboo. I just pull the training into now. So it doesn't really matter when it was. But that whole idea of not, who do you know, but more specifically, it's like, so I'm wondering if anyone comes to mind that is interested in better health. Or who do you know that, so it's a little bit more specific, because I was finding that sometimes if it was too broad, like, do you know anyone else that might be interested? It's almost too big for them to gather in their net. And if we all know a couple thousand people by name, or even, 200 or 300 people come to mind, it's almost too big of a net. So that whole idea of, who do you know that's actually wishing that they had more vacation time, or, and get a little bit more specific so that we can really feel like we're, I guess, serving.
That's an excellent point. I'll give you a
I
perfect.
don't really like the word serving. It feels a bit, but it is that, isn't it? And then we're all happy.
I'll give you that's an excellent point, Phyllis, about when you're asking for referrals. A little off topic, but I think it's worth mentioning. Last night I had an experience. I went to a networking event, always looking for people, right? So I went to this networking business show, and I was talking to a gentleman. He said, "What do you do?" And I was talking to him about my overall Get Healthy program. And really, he wasn't leaning in. It wasn't catching his attention. The guy beside me came up and does very similar program to what I do. Gave him the business card. The business card says something about, I help people with diabetes. And the guy's eyes lit up. He said, "You help people with diabetes?" This is to the gentleman beside me. He said, "Oh yeah, I had diabetes. I reversed it and I help people." He said, "Wow, I know about 4 people that I can give your card to that would be interested. Do you have some business cards?" So I was standing there looking at the guy. I'm thinking, okay, I basically have a better program because I know this guy than he does. But what he said triggered the person in front of him to say, "I know some people." So it's important when you, I guess, ask for referrals or talk about what you do. Some of those specifics, who do you know who has diabetes, is going to be one of my questions in the future, because my program can help them with reversing diabetes or managing diabetes. Holly, you're on the line. Any comments, anything from this chapter about making a list that you want to add before we wrap up? Or if you want
I didn't hear anybody mention it yet, but I guess what hit me in a sense is once you get that list and you write down everybody, that'll leave your brain space to come up with other stuff, other names or finding people. So I thought, well, that's really good. Then if I get that list down, then boom, there's more space in there to come up with other names.
Yeah, good point. Good point. And it's, I think if Lori's feeling this, it's very freeing once you start, adding all those names on the list. It's actually like you had a major breakthrough. It's very freeing. And it's like, wow. And who knows what your unconscious mind, tomorrow morning you're going to wake up and probably come up with more names. So keep writing them down. Have that list handy to write names down.
Yeah, I don't know why I was feeling so anxious about it or why it was worrying me so, but it did. And I just sat myself down and said, all right, enough.
How are you feeling now?
Like I said, I'm feeling a lot more relieved that that's just done. And it's encouraging me just to add. So my next step is to add, to edit, to add, to edit. And just always keeping that conversation flowing.
Excellent.
Not necessarily going up to somebody and say, "Hey, I'm Lori. You want to buy you Sonnet?" Just keeping the conversation going. So it just, because I'm not a shy person, but yet this made me sort of shell back a bit. So yeah, it did help a lot. So it is encouraging to know that you can do it. Whether your list is 10 or it's 100 or it's 1,000, just don't be afraid. Just sit down and write them.
Excellent.
And I'm sort of taking it sort of like that. Your diary, it's yours.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be afraid of it because those people aren't talking back to you on the paper.
Yeah.
Their name is just on the paper. So, it's how do I reach, because I know every single person on this list and I know, I hopefully know what angle, maybe it's the word angle, to talk to them now. And it gives that paper a little bit more life.
How you could help them with whatever issue they have.
That's right, because some of my lists are sports, some of them are more business orientated, some are more into health. So I want to find that common ground of what I can start the conversation with.
Well, that brings us to the next chapter, chapter 5. Now, Phyllis, are you prepared? I think you volunteered to do chapter 5 review next week, correct?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
On inviting. Yep.
Okay. So we're going to wrap up then instead of jumping in, because I feel like we're ready at the edge of wanting to, okay, now what do we do with the list? So other than right now prioritize them, next week we're going to delve into how to prospect, how to invite these people to take a look at what we have to offer. So encourage your team to be on the call. We'll be back next Wednesday at 7:30 Manitoba time. Thanks for being on the call tonight.